to the CCR. Together.
Sorry, Mike. We're covering your tape.
Yes, please do. Just
all right.
as long as you take it out the dollars per hour.
We'll call to order at 6:03 p.m. Courtney's not present. Bill Camino is present via phone. Hopkins, myself, and also present. All right. Everybody got a chance to go through the meeting minutes from the last meeting.
I move that we approve the January 23rd meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion around that? Hearing no, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Alright, let's hop right into this while we have Bill on the phone and discuss the final portion of the solar PPA part of it. I know that this still needs to go for all other permits and approvals through the select board and all that. This is just an official blessing from us, the power consumer, for let them move forward with all that process. So I supplied Jude a revision with all the questions we've had, and he has answered, and he answered one more for me, which I can add to this tonight. But I'd just like to open it up for discussion on that. Did everybody get a chance to read Jude's reply to?
I saw your questions.
I'm trying to pull it up. Okay, go ahead.
I don't think I saw the reply.
Okay.
Because we had more questions after the last meeting, and I don't think I saw the reply for that. Did you send the reply after that?
I thought
Yeah,
I
you
did.
You did.
Okay. It would have been today.
Oh, it was today. Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So basically, I can run through them real quick because it'll probably be good to say them out loud and
Okay.
kind of understand them. So my first question for him, after, on top of all the other things he's answered, was the distribution charges, right? Will there be any more regardless, even in the winter months when we may not meet our production needs? His reply was, when the facility does draw electricity from the grid due to insufficient solar production during the winter months or any time, distribution charges will apply on the portion of electricity drawn from the grid. Fortunately, whenever the solar power is producing and powering the facility, it will offset not just the energy supply portion of your bill, but also the distribution and transmission charges. And they correlate, meaning the more you use, the higher the distribution charge. So it'll be less than that. This will get explained, like I can explain better to the chances of that further along, like of us having to pay a distribution charge.
Okay, I'll wait.
And number two, the purchasing power, right? Are we purchasing all the generated power and then selling it back? I understand how net metering works for residential, but want to be clear about the PPA. Are we banking the overproduction in the summer months like a typical system? Is there unused power at the end of the year? Can we sell that back to utility? Maybe an explanation of where unused power goes and who's responsible for it. He said, yes, you will purchase all the power generated by the solar array and export the excess back to the grid and receive a credit payment from the utility for excess energy. In other words, the excess energy produced by the solar system during the summer months is banked or credited to your account. The bank credit is then used to offset the cost from energy from the grid that you will use during the months when your electricity load exceeds solar production. The next question was the interconnection costs.
Well, so while we're right there,
Yep.
that says to me that we're banking our own supply on the Eversource grid. In order to get it back, we have to pay distribution charges.
I feel like that is correct.
Okay. All right.
But I don't know if the offset for what we sell back is great enough to offset that as well. I don't know, but that would be like a final question. If that's all we have, we can maybe conditionally approve based on the answer to that. On the interconnection cost, this was a big one, right? That the clause in the contract had an unexpected interconnection cost that can triple, right? The PPA rate. We will, so that can triple the cost of the interconnection, which will result in an increase in the PPA rate. I told them that we would be willing to max out at the 1 cent increase for 1 year if there was an unexpected cost associated. I just, mentioned that being professionals, to be off by as much as 300% seems irresponsible estimating, right? So he said, interconnection expenses are the single largest unknown at the outset of a large solar project. We develop our best estimate based on what we have seen with similar projects. However, every interconnection is unique, and the eventual upgrade costs are entirely at the discretion of the utility. Since we designed this system to interconnect behind your existing utility service for maximum energy value, and have carefully evaluated your service, we are confident utility upgrades will be in line with our estimate. For that reason, we are comfortable adjusting our standard 2 cent kilowatt per hour max increase to 1 cent as you requested.
A lot of words to say, okay.
Yeah.
We'll agree to that.
You got us.
Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah.
I asked, I mentioned this was the buyout at year 7. I said, I understand this is, the premium jump at year 7. I understand this is an incentive for us to purchase, but is it negotiable at all? Highly unlikely we would be in a position to purchase at year 7 with the current upgrades going on at the plant. I said, this is also around the time when most failures occur with string inverters. He said, we can explore a lower year 7 premium. However, it would necessitate a higher starting PPA rate. For example, we could reduce the 7-year premium to 2 cents per kilowatt hour with a starting PPA rate of 1.5, not even 1.5, 1.05 cents. Please let us know if you would like to see the financial summary for that scenario. The inverters are warranted for 10 years, which is unusual. I just went through a bunch of training. It's usually 7. And it is possible to purchase a warranty extension. We model the cost of inverter replacement and the estimated 25-year and 40-year savings. It is also worth mentioning that across our portfolio, more than 10,000 installed PV systems, including roughly 1,000 commercial PV systems. Inverter failures have been extremely rare and are relatively more common on rooftop systems with power optimizers rather than ground mount systems like with this string inverter. How about that? I had asked about unknown energy usage. There's a possibility that we need to add additional upgrades to our facility in the future. These upgrades would utilize electric pumps, heaters, and monitoring devices. How would this affect our energy costs down the road? He said if your demand goes up, more of the array's generation would be used behind the meter, which will improve its performance because you will receive full electricity value for what is used behind the meter. Again, my last question will make more sense to these. So that was his answer for that. Additional electric bills. Are we allowed to share our banked energy across multiple meters billed to our department? So because of the fixed customer charges and demand charges on every utility account, the excess annual generation from the solar power, which converts to monetary credits after the billing cycle, will simply offset those additional charges on the same account at the same month, in the same month or in the succeeding winter months. Hence, no need benefit to link other accounts or arrange cash payments. Ultimately, the savings on the electricity bill on the water and sewer meter would then be used to pay bills on the other meters. So those were his answers for that. My last question was just about the size of the array and if it was intended, which they always are, but I just wanted to be sure, to generate in excess enough to be confident we would be covered in the winter months. And he had said, thanks for the additional question. Yes, we modeled the system in such a way that only 35% would be consumed right behind the meter, while the remaining will be net metered and Eversource will credit your account. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good buffer in there. I mean, from a home perspective, you usually do, I know we're way far away from a typical residential one, but you would model it at anywhere from 135 to 150 of what you're consuming, so. To be banking 85, you know, on months where we can produce well, we're gonna have a pretty good location with, I assume, little shading, you know, things that will be a detriment will just be cloudy days, snow. I mean, they still produce on cloudy days, but.
Say that again. So he's looking at in optimum sunny days or whatever, the system will produce. Our consumption is considered 35% of what it will produce. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll overproduce by, 85% of it will be sold back. You know, we'll use that up quickly in the winter months, but yeah. So that's what I have for.
I have a comment, is that solar panels work better when it's cold than they do when it's hot.
Agreed.
On any day that is not terribly overcast, your production of the panels will go up. So if not a day is shorter, but the efficiency is higher.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we learned the other day. Well, on Monday we had talked with some microinverter companies, and they were expressing how solar arrays don't work well in high temp deserts, Phoenix, because of temp. Okay. You're asking a lot for the inverter.
I think he has a typo on his response. It can't be .0105. It needs to be .105.
That's that. I think
Yeah.
that's what stumbled me when I was reading
that's
it.
a typo. Because it's just if that's the price,
Right.
we're in.
Well, we got it in writing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the price,
So,
brother.
yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's why I had to read it 4 or 5 times. I was trying to make sense of it.
Yeah, because that's just over a penny per kilowatt hour, and it's just that's not a thing. So we're paying 9 cents right now to EverSource, and the PPA agreement says 10, and if we did a increase of 3 points, it would be 10. It would be 10 cents if we did the increase of 3 points at 7 years. It would be 10.5 cents on year 1 if we did a 2 cent increase. So I got that all built into the spreadsheet. So my spreadsheet doesn't account for any distribution charges. So do you want me to
Yeah.
kind of lay this out a little bit?
Yeah.
Are we done with the responses from
Yep.
Jude? They make sense to me. So what I did was I took a bill from the summertime, from midsummer, a current EverSource bill, and then I took a bill from midwinter. Interestingly enough, the distribution charges on the winter bill is quite a bit higher because the kilowatt hours is quite a bit higher. So it's weird how it works, but what Jude is saying is that it like they don't track linearly. They the distribution charges go like this as you use more and more, they get more and more expensive. So that's an interesting component that I was wondering why it did that on the bill. It almost looked like they had different pricing for winter or summer, but it must be just the fact that we're only using 20,000 a month in the summer and 25,000 a month in the winter. So
Yeah, which is, I'm assuming, related to heating or something.
yeah, something. But so what I did was I have it broken down into whether we buy out or we don't buy out, and I used his escalator, which is are you able to see this on your?
I'm looking at it.
Okay.
2.5.
So I did a 2.5% increase. You guys all, let me just email this to everybody.
Sure.
Let's see here. Sent items, 47 to Mike. Forward. Receiver. Alright, everybody should be receiving that now. Bill, I sent it to you too if you have access to a computer down there. So this is what they, so the PPA supply rate, without the buyout is 10.5 cents. With the buyout is 10 cents. At year 7, I have it going up 3 cents with the buyout and 2 cents without the buyout. Do I have this right? So when we do the buyout, I really need to get rid of that, any of our PPA costs at the time of buyout, right? Because we don't pay the,
Correct.
once we buy the system, we don't have an actual PPA cost at all. True? So I need to delete that. Yeah, see, I needed to send you a 4th version of this.
That's fine.
Yeah, so if you look on your sheet, so from J6 all the way down, that needs to be deleted. If you're looking at cells on your sheet.
Okay.
Because that's the PPA with buyout.
Yeah, I can't do
So our savings with, if we buy out the, so looking at year 7, our savings, if we buy this out, would be about $14,000 a year. Right off the bat, we're starting at $15,000 a year. So that goes up a little bit into year 7, and then it drops off some because we have a bond payment of $39,000 on there. I forget what I did for an interest rate on that. I think I did 3% on the buyout figure that was on the last proposal from Jude. So,
How much is the buyout?
the buyout was 565,000, I think.
So nothing we could like, just by saving that 15,000 every year, it's not gonna pay for it in year 7.
Right. So, but because when we buy it out, we no longer have to pay the investor the PPA cost. It starts to even out. But so in year 7, our savings is $14,000 if we buy it out. Then that's the same year we have our first payment on the bond. And if we don't buy it out, our savings is at $19,000. That's in that first year. The very next year, after the escalator goes on of the 3% or the 3 points. So we go from in year 6. I need to put that right there. Where's my freeze payments? Oh, there. Freeze. So in year 7, we go from 11.31 cents per kilowatt hour up to 14.31 cents per kilowatt hour if we don't buy the system. If we do buy the system, that's what it would be. Is that how this does that? Right. I think I might have that backwards. Because if we buy out the system, they're gonna add 3 cents, right? That's the incentive to have us buy it out.
If we don't buy it out, they add 3 cents. Yeah.
If we don't buy it out, they add the 3 cents.
If we buy it out, then we're not even buying it.
Right.
We're paying for power at that point.
The delay. They must be watching now.
Oh. It's driving me nuts. Alright, give me just a second here to look at this. So where's your house? That goes to those 2. Can he mute himself?
Hey Bill, the TV feed is slightly behind us. Do you mind can you mute the phone so we can't hear that, or?
Yeah, I tried. Okay, I shut that off.
Okay. Thanks.
calculation issues when we get down to the bottom, after the whole thing is paid off, I might have some calculation issues, cause I got some negative numbers in there, so they shouldn't be negative. I think at that point we have true savings.
Yeah, that's well over the 25-year mark.
Yeah, at that point, it's,
The bond would be for 20 years, right? So we'd have to at least forecast that to the 27-year mark, right? Am I thinking about that, right?
yeah, so I think at the end there, if I multiply the calculation by -1, it gives us the right number. Because what that's doing is giving us just a negative number. The number is right, it's just a negative instead of a positive. Yeah, that's correct. Because we're subtracting from 0, because the price goes down to nothing, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great spreadsheet.
Okay, drag that down. Alright, try that one.
Almost there, Bill. We got.
I got the
Ben-
first 3 was to Mike alone earlier, and it was really bad to start with. It was like, okay, well, I didn't even look at them for
Ben
PPA,
created quite the spreadsheet. He's just modifying it to reflect what Jude had said. It lays it out really well.
The phone is breaking up a bit. I'm only catching the pieces.
Okay. Let me know if this is any better. What I said was that Ben had created a spreadsheet that we've been working off of. He just made some modifications to it based off of what Jude said. So we should be able to review that now.
Okay, I got all that.
Okay, great. I don't know that I got it done.
The one I just sent?
Yeah.
Is R32 supposed to be 885,000 change?
That's what I got.
Okay, just want to show you.
Yeah, R32 is 885,687.2.
Yep.
Yep. Did you get it, Mike?
R32 is supposed to be 900.
R32. 885,687.
Yeah, sorry, Mike.
Oh, it's all right.
I got rid of you on that last email. Technical difficulties.
Your email just was like, this has to be spam. This guy keeps sending me saying
No, I don't
downloads.
know when I hit reply all, you weren't on that email that I hit reply all to, so I just forwarded it to you, Mike. You should have it now.
Yeah, get out of here. Alright.
Yeah, so if we don't buy out the system, we save $521,000 over a 30-year lifespan. I put the system end of life at 30 years. Is that correct? Is that how many years I get there?
Yeah.
If we do buy it out, we may be able to get, I didn't run the spreadsheet any further than that because everywhere I looked it was like end of life is at 25 to 30, and the way they determine end of life is that you can't guarantee the production once you can't guarantee the production of the system, they consider that end of life,
Right.
so. It
Yeah.
probably runs way longer than that, I don't know, but.
Yeah, I mean, most panels are guaranteed 25 years to be at least 90% efficient still. So while they may lose efficiency, I think they'll always produce. So.
Okay, so that number just gets better, so we're really just looking at the difference between, the buyout and no buyout, and I have $5,000 a year on top of the bond payment for maintenance. So that includes, I'm assuming there are many years that we won't even spend that much, it'll just be a matter of mowing it a couple of times, but then we're gonna have to have some sort of interconnection repair or something that we're gonna need to work on, whether it's inverters or whatever. So we'll wanna bank that 5,000, whatever we don't use of that $5,000 a year in the off years, and set it aside for that type of, so I left it at $5,000 anyway, so. The PPA agreement had like a bigger number in there further down, so I don't know. In this calculation, I also did, the same escalator on the Eversource rate as they had on the,
Right, that's fair, yeah,
on the PPA rate.
yeah.
Now, while they say Eversource is gonna go up 3.5%, that's not what they have. They have 2.5% on their side, so I just did the same thing on
Right,
Eversource's side.
historically, it's slightly less than that, but that's the general rule. Some people will use a 3% in the industry just because it obviously looks better.
Yep, exactly. So I thought, let's do apples to apples here. We obviously start out in a better position on the supply rate with Eversource, but we have to pay full freight on the delivery. So if you look at the top line there, you kind of look across there, you can see that we're paying under H2, that's, you know, for the supply, we're paying 8.9 cents per kilowatt hour. And then that same first year, we're paying 10 or 10.5 cents with the PPA, but we have a supply and delivery rate that, when combined, adds up to 16.7 cents if we stayed with Eversource. So there's a big savings there, but one thing the sheet doesn't calculate for is we're obviously paying some of that 8.9 cents for the supply rate, somewhere between that and the 16.7 cents for the combination. We're gonna be paying a number in between there because, or we're gonna be paying some portion of that supply, I should say. But we don't know what that is, and I couldn't possibly know how to calculate that.
You couldn't, right? You'd have to predict weather and
Right.
everything. So I'm gonna start an email to Jude.
I think the only question we really have for him to really nail down our numbers would be, I mean, the industry must have an average efficiency for your system in our area each month of the year, right? Like, that's how we would do that, and we could just use averages.
Yeah, and I believe that's how they've sized the system, right? When he's able to say it should offset you by 35%, he's basing it off of.
Right, that's the
historical
most
average.
optimum, and whenever the most optimum is, and then after that, we're using, cause right now, it's not, cause the year-long number is, we do 356,000 of production from the solar field. That's the first year, and we use 270,000. So it's only 35% or 25% in the best months of the year. The rest of the time, it averages out to us being whatever 356 divided by 270 is, whatever that percentage is.
Hey, Bill,
Yeah.
I know you have a residential system, but in the winter months when you must generate enough, do you have an electric bill in the winter months?
I generate, I got 11 megawatts stored. on the grid.
Okay.
And, I generate a lot more electricity than I actually.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Just FYI, I sized it based on what I anticipated I would be using when I travel.
Right.
Because right now, I'm not using a lot of electricity other than the freezer, the refrigerator, and the furnace.
Right.
I made it a lot more so I'd have a big surplus when I got too old to travel.
Gotcha.
So the way it's designed for year one is, based on our current figures, is 75%. So over the course of the year, while we may be designed to be the system to outproduce us by 75% in the better parts of the year, it's underproducing so much in the other parts of the year that it's averaging out that the system is, our usage is 75% of the system. So that's like a 133% efficiency rate, or not efficiency rate, but
Right. I know what you mean.
production rate. So the numbers all make sense in my head. I don't know if they're making sense to everybody else, but
They are, yeah, and I think your chart kind of, know there'll be, right, I mean, we don't know how to predict that. Delivery charge in months where we need to purchase power back. I guess my question for you, Bill, is when you're using your banked power, do you have to pay a delivery charge on that?
I have to pay a $15 hookup charge. It's not a delivery charge, it's a hookup charge.
Right, and that doesn't fluctuate.
And that may fluctuate, it's just a fixed fee of the hookup to the grid. And so, I give them, during the day I give them kilowatt hours, and I take back kilowatt hours.
Right.
And so there's, the only time I would ever have to pay any is if I put more snow on the grid and I brought it back down to less than what I was producing.
Correct.
Does he have a behind the meter setup?
Yeah, most people. Is yours behind the meter, Bill? I think most.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's basically what it is. My production is behind the meter.
Right.
So
Whatever I use, Eversource never sees it because they don't know how much I produce.
hey Bill, so if are there any months of the year that you use more than you produce?
Occasionally in the winter, especially because there's snow on it. Like I'm gone, like right now, it snows. If I'm there and it snows, I get up on the roof and I clean it off.
And if you're in that
I have a very shallow roof, so I get no buildup. You're gonna have panels that are much deeper angle, and the snow should slide off relatively easy.
so Bill, in that month, that rare occasion where you underproduce what you use, you're essentially buying off of the grid. Are you paying more than the $15 connection fee, or is it always just the $15 connection fee and you're just using out of your bank?
It's always $15. What I'm doing is I'm just using up my surplus out there.
Okay. And I don't know, is that the difference between residential and our commercial installation? Because that's the big question is because we are definitely, because we're never going to be going on vacation here. We're definitely going to overuse what we produce for a number of months out of the year, and if we're paying the distribution fee, then yeah. And it sounds like what Jude is saying is yes, you are paying the distribution fee on those in those months.
Yeah, the detail in that question would be, if we don't have enough stored, are we paying the distribution fee, or are we just paying it?
Well, the assumption is we'll always have enough stored. It's just a matter of it's stored out on the grid, and we've now got to get it back from the other side of the meter. Are they charging us the distribution charge for that?
I think, and this is just a thought, is that's the advantage of us. Normally they would mount on the other side of the meter, but because of our location, we're going to be on our side of the meter, that it's going to behave more like a residential and less like a commercial.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a wild card for me.
That's the hinge.
My calculations don't adjust for that. This makes the assumption that we pay no distribution charge whatsoever.
So the transmission fee adjusts, so the people who switch to community power or switch to the other sources early on, they had a higher distribution within the town than what normal people with Eversource had. Now the whole town switch basically was flipped over and it's opt out, so that distribution fee is what could vary.
Yeah, you see those generally, they ramp up to the point where you're back to paying whatever you were paying previously.
Because that's the one.
On that scenario.
That's the one thing you don't know is how much they're going to charge you for the distribution fee,
Right. Yeah.
or transmission fee, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and in the no buyout scenario, we can handle up to, it's not necessarily, yeah, we can handle up to about $15,000 worth of distribution charges. Right now, it's On a given month, it averages between, so it's $1,750 a month for distribution charges right now. So if we only paid distribution charges in the winter, and we only needed to buy some of our, because we were still producing power, and we only needed to buy some of that, let's call it $1,000 a month. That's $6,000 that we have to pay in distribution charges that would come out of these calculations that I have here. That's not terrible, right? Like, that's not,
Savings is still savings.
yeah, there's still, you know, that would be $9,000 of savings in the first year. In years 7 through, when we do that first jump up, in years 7 through, well, after year 7, right, until our mortgage is paid off, we would be, if we had to pay that $6,000, our savings would be minimal. So, we're in the no buyout though. Do I have that right? It looks like that's it. So my labels are wrong. I needed more time to work on this apparently. So. No, that's right.
I was gonna say, I think
That's
it's right, yeah.
that's right.
That's S.
Yeah, the buyout would be more attractive than the no buyout.
Yep.
All right, so my remaining question for Jude at the moment, and I think we already know the answer to it, was just, is for the months that we do not produce enough electricity, do we pay a distribution fee when we are purchasing our own power, our power credits back, or only if we run out of credits? Right, that's essentially the question.
That's basically what it is. As long as you've got a credit out there, the type that you use that credit, doesn't give you any more charges until you have a storage out there.
Right, that's how I understand it from a residential standpoint. I just want to make sure that that's how the PPA works as well.
Right. No, that's an appropriate question.
Okay.
Yeah, so the buyout, it appears that the buyout is the better way to go.
Yeah, and it's because of that escalator, right? I
Right.
think if that wasn't in there, they would be equal, right? Well, not equal because we don't pay anything after year 7.
That's the big ticket item, is that your cost for electricity drops precipitously at that point, and your cost for the bond payment is only it's very much the same thing. So,
I'm willing to let Jude know with that question. Do you want more time with this spreadsheet?
yeah, I think I do. I want to. Yeah, I need to flesh this out and make sure that this is right.
Does it look similar to what we compared it to what Jude had supplied?
He has, yeah, his stuff looks awesome. So I don't, yeah, I didn't put a lot of stock in that. It was,
No, but I mean, it should be similar to what you came up with, I think.
it didn't have our, what our cost with Eversource would be in it, I don't believe. That was the kicker. So it didn't have the difference between what we're.
$1,000, if I'm reading this correctly, for, they also degrade the panels over time as well.
As I'm reviewing this, it looks right. It's just hard to look at because of the way that escalator makes things look funny in the middle and. It's the actual Eversource cost minus the buyout.
I'm okay with, I'm alright with a little more time, but can we put it like a kill date on it?
That's right. Yeah, even if we added $1,000 a month, call it $800 a month for distribution costs, 12 months a year, even though it's probably not going to be 12 months a year. That's 96. Call it $10,000, right? So if we pull $10,000 off the top of this, yeah, it eats in quite a bit as we go along, but with the buyout, it's, I mean,
Yeah,
towards the, those after the mortgage is paid off, it's quite a nice deal. So
yeah, I don't, right. I mean, the beauty of this, to oversimplify it, is just that it really costs us nothing to build it. And at those numbers, if we do not buy it out, it looks like, it may not be attractive in years like 7, 8, 9, you know what I mean? If figuring 10,000 value, yeah.
let me add that number into this, Mike, and just scrub the spreadsheet entirely to make sure that it is, because it's just the formulas across the lines that I just want to make sure they're right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them right now and I'm pretty confident they are, but all the individual numbers are correct, but it's what's added and subtracted across the line items to get the actual true savings on a year-over-year basis. I just want to double check and make sure it's correct.
Okay.
And we don't have to tell them, like, we don't, like, year 6, we can say, yeah, we wanna buy it out next year, right? Like, it's not like we have to figure this out tomorrow.
Yeah, you can opt out, or you can make it,
Or buy earlier or something.
Or later.
Yeah. That's what I
Oh,
thought.
I think that's probably our only question though, right? Like, so if we design this to be as in without buyout, right? We're gonna be paying extra in the first 6 years, and then we decide to buy out in year 7. Our buyout total should be less.
I think when you originally came in, you showed us like a 6, 7, and then even further up.
Right, he had different breakdowns on the buyout, but what I'm saying is if we tell them up front that we don't want to buy out, they're going to start us out at a higher PPA rate.
Right.
And then if we decide at year 6, oh yes, we do want to do the buyout, it makes sense to do the buyout, we've overpaid essentially for the first number of years.
We don't do anything for that.
Right.
Just,
Right, so-
we gambled and lost.
If we we plan for no buyout,
Right.
or if we go with the no buyout PPA rate,
Right.
and then decide at year 6 to purchase the array is the purchase price. Just say does the purchase price change? Right, is that? Anything else for him at this moment?
Did we ask the question about, the efficiency of the system on a monthly basis? Like, what we expect it to be in the winter months or whatever? Maybe we can just put the I'll just put the 10 grand in there as the distribution cost.
Oh, the first question I have for him is just to be clear, the months that we don't produce enough, do we pay distribution fees when we're purchasing our own power back, or only when we run out of credits?
Okay, alright, good, yeah. Yeah, and the answer to that question will certainly be helpful to,
Right, and I believe it's gonna be the only when we have credits, and I think the possibility of us not having credits is there, but it's low.
yeah, well, cause we're at 75% of the abilities of the system, so.
Right.
Should we add the reactor, the nitrification reactor, which I think
Yeah,
has
that was my question
has a
around-
reasonable consumption. I didn't see
Adding-
the answer to that.
Right, yeah, so that would just be, you could add to the array if you wanted that, like, but it would be on us to do so. We have a kind of a preset payment calculator of what that looks like per panel, but it'd be with microinverters. It's not expensive to add 30 panels, it's be like 15 kilowatts. But yeah, and the hope is that things become more efficient as well. The things, whatever we upgrade or buy has a better energy efficiency rating, like Courtney had mentioned before, that if we replace those blowers, hopefully, in the 20 years they've been running, they've created a blower that draws much less energy. But yeah, because when they discuss the nitrification tank, they also discuss heaters in there. There's nothing worse than resistance heating.
Yeah, these numbers are right. So that escalator, that 3% escalator, that's big. That definitely, when you don't do the buyout, that's a big jump.
Yeah,
And then
chops it back in half.
yeah, it does, and that's why it's so hard to look at the outcome of these numbers, but that's what's doing it. So, because Eversource kind of does this, and the PPA does this right at that moment, and it takes a few years to catch back up.
Right.
So,
Yeah, but quite a few more years.
yeah, and it really seems like the buyout is, I mean,
Well, right. That's the intention, right? Is to make it as attractive as possible.
yeah, and I'm just trying to understand, I guess, from our side, this isn't a question for Jude, but what is the downside of the buyout? I know Courtney's concerned, if we didn't mention it tonight, would be, we'd be remiss if we didn't say something about it, but is when we have to, dispose of this thing 40 years from now. So, and we don't, want to saddle our kids or grandkids with having to deal with that if it's determined to be some sort of like environmental disaster that we just didn't know about until we figured it out down the road, which that happens.
Right. On the sunny side of things, you can assume that in 40 years, technology has arisen that will recycle most everything. That's the hope.
Right.
The other hope is that we have a relative perspective with some panels that have far exceeded their expected use and are still over 80% efficient.
Right.
You know, he actually had some roof issues. You know, they're still
Outlast
they're
your
still
roof.
chugging.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and from a roof perspective, once they're on your roof, your shingles are fairly protected. Your roof generally lasts longer, provided it has structure to hold it. Anything else for Jude? I know he's been patient. I just want to make sure we get him something before this opportunity goes away. And I know there's so many other moving parts and pieces down here that it's almost a burden to look at, but I think if there's ever a way to save money down here, this is about the only chance to do it.
Let me, yeah, I don't have any questions on that, and I'll get the spreadsheet. What I'll do too is I'll run it out to the 40-year mark, and I'll put something on there like, I don't know, at the 30-year mark, I'll put a, I don't know, 5% efficiency reduction on an annual basis at that point, or something. Put some number that's bigger than what's on there now.
All right, that was an hour on that. All right, so just in case you missed it, Bill, I'm gonna ask you 2 more questions. Bill, Ben's gonna finalize that spreadsheet, and it's a great one if you wanna, you know, when he sends it out, to take a look at it, and then we'll get Jude, and I'll let Jude know where we're at in the process, and we'll just keep plugging away to get him, you know, top priority for getting him an answer.
I will finish this tomorrow morning and send it out to everybody.
Okay, so.
It's really not gonna take much time to just double check my work, that's all.
You gonna email Jude or you gonna call?
No, how does he answer? I mean, he's been good at emailing me back, but I'll email him with my phone number, and if he wants to just call, he can call.
Okay.
He's been pretty good. I emailed him this morning, he got back to me this afternoon.
Okay, if he comes back with a positive answer, can we throw together a quick video, audio meeting?
I would like to. Anybody all right with that? We can't do like an emergency meeting for
It's
that.
not really an emergency. You can declare an emergency, it's kind of stretching it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now, apparently, I'm just getting the impression Jude is at the deal.
Yeah, I know, and he's been gracious with us, but I also want to be gracious with us here that.
I don't want to do it too much, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if we can, you know, come back with a positive answer.
Yeah, I guess with those questions, what would the negative answer be?
The worst case scenario for question 1 was that we pay a distribution charge when we're purchasing our own power back, which is highly unlikely. But that would be the worst case in that, and
But
it
that
was,
would be that 10 grand, right?
right.
Annual.
Yeah. And then the other one is just really a question of how attractive it looks to not buy the system out if we decide ahead of time to do so. And then with the stipulation of, if we do decide somewhere in there, if we change our minds, does paying the higher rate up front drive down the cost of purchasing it later on?
Right. So is what we're signing lock us into either the buyout or the not buyout option?
Because of the negotiation around the initial PPA price per kilowatt hour, I think yes, because you would be signing with the intention to buy out or not.
Okay.
You do not have to buy out on the one, I guess, there's just the escalator in there, really. even if we go with the buyout PPA rate, we're not required to buy it out at that point. We just significantly lose savings at that point.
Right, 'cause we can't guarantee, whatever, 7 years that we can get a bond passed to buy this thing, even if we say upfront, yeah, we
Right,
wanna buy it.
right, so we're not locked into having to actually buy it, just the savings that are starting to increase year over year get knocked back down to, less than year one, and it starts over again. And that's if, you can look at it the other way and say, a couple of years ago, electric rates changed, 50% in 1 year, right? They doubled money, or, 100% in 1 year, they doubled money. So, but on the latter side of that, they've come down over the last few months. So, historically, again, they're somewhere between 2.5% and 2.7% a year.
I guess like my thing would be, I'd be comfortable saying, like, conditionally approve it based on the responses and leave it to you.
Yeah, I agree with Bill that our next meeting will be the 26th.
It can't be the 27th, right, because is that the candidates night?
26th, okay.
26 is?
Yeah, and ours is the 27th.
Okay.
I won't even be here for that meeting.
I won't be here for that meeting either, so,
Okay, then.
that's it, there we go.
Bill, when do you come home, just out of curiosity?
Good night.
No later than March 8th.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
we wouldn't have a meeting.
Yeah, so it looks like we won't even have our next meeting unless we do it earlier. I want everybody to be comfortable with that.
Right.
So if that's an option, great, if not, I say we just wait for these and then.
So what is our next meeting then?
It would have been the 27th.
And then it would have been March 12th, but that's town meeting, so that one needs to move too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
We move
next 3
along,
weeks is a little
yeah.
crazy.
What's next week for you guys? Because we could potentially wrap this up tonight, wrap this relatively short tonight, and continue this meeting with the intention of getting solar done at our next meeting, and make it next week sometime. And then just skip the typical second meeting, which are in the 27th, and then move the March 10th, the March 12th meeting around.
Yeah, I can do every day next week.
Yeah.
I'm wrapped into like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, let's meet next Wednesday.
And planning board on Wednesday.
No, she's kidding. Let's meet
Actually, I'm kind of alright with it, but, Tuesday or?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Tuesday's fine with me.
Alright, Bill, we're gonna meet next Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and we'll take care of that, yeah, because otherwise, we wouldn't have had enough people, a quorum for the 27th, our regular scheduled meeting, and the next meeting after that is town meeting, so we'd have to move that one besides. I'll be gone from 27th to the 6th or 7th.
Yeah, the 24th to the 1st.
Okay, so I'll get these from Jude, and I will let him know that we will be making a decision on Tuesday.
February 18th.
February 18th. Thank you, guys. Alright, and I just emailed Jude right now, so he should have that. Okay.
first thing on the list done.
Yeah, I mean, it was the
Yeah.
lion's share of the list.
That term's gonna be used and abused for some time.
So, the generator update, I just wanna go over this real quick. I'm gonna sit down with probably you.
Yep.
And, Sheila has actually reached out again to make sure that, I had gotten the information. I told her it was a little overwhelming considering I was under the impression that we were this far away from having this ready.
I'm wondering if I have, because I have a whole
Well-
file on that computer on that.
Yeah, she said, my reply to her is, I got your email, but I have to admit it's quite overwhelming. I said, I'm gonna take some time to sit and look with it, with the superintendent. The person who started the process is no longer with us, and I was under the impression that most everything had been submitted. Appears not the case. This is on my to-do list, thanks for reaching out, and she had said, really understandable. She goes, I think once you start taking a look at it, it's not as overwhelming as you think, but, so basically there's a list of things. It looks like there's a dollar amount attached in the subject line of $26,063.
This is a match grant, right?
Right.
Yep.
Since we currently need the following reports, it looks like an NIMS compliance questionnaire report, a lobbying, disbarment, suspension requirements, assurance, instruction, disclosure of lobbying activities. I'm sure this is all like super.
Right, you're just signing saying we're not gonna do
Exactly.
X, Y, Z or something.
And then an EHP checklist, an EHP screening form, an EHP screening form instructions can be found here, and then an NHDHR request for project review. So I think to me, this is another language. I think if you and I just set a time, just
Yeah.
sit down and go through it, I think this will be pretty good.
Sounds good.
So, just for my knowledge, our goal with this, if we could get it, would be to go ahead and try and replace the pump station one and then use the one that we purchased as a backup for other ones. Am I understanding that correctly? Or is there a generator somewhere else that can be replaced? Or that should be replaced?
The other generators are fairly new.
Okay.
Fairly 08.
Yeah, are we still running this one for like a day every day?
Yeah.
So that's where we stand for that. I'll set a time aside and be adjusted. I don't know that we even need to go over this one. They were discussed last night. Everything seemed to be look good. I know we were wondering about verbiage changes on the warrant for the new truck. Everything seemed to be in order on that. Any discussion around that?
The only other thing was we had, so we had a couple of, so what were our warrant articles that we were?
The truck and hydrants.
Yep.
There was, we had asked Dave and Jordan at the last meeting to try and put together an estimate for what that, and they were supposed to have it in by February 7th. He did get it into me a couple days ago. I'll forward it out and go over it now. But, the cost for the covers was far more, but I think that was the other one that we were talking about, was some dredging, right, and what that looked like if we had to replace the covers to see if we could do that. Remember Dave saying that it might be a little too soon to reach back out and try and, he felt to ask the town for more money. I think that was the way the conversation.
A little bit, yeah, and we wanted to just see the number, like, that we would have to propose. Obviously, it's too late for that now, but
Yeah, so, he did
I'm
send.
curious though.
He sent it to me, on Monday. I'll forward it out, basically to mobilize dredging equipment and pump. They're claiming 520,000 gallons of liquid sludge from cell 1A to the offline lagoon for a total of $140,000. Incredibly inexpensive, because they're using a dredge. Here's where the kicker comes in. So, demolish and dispose of existing cell 1A cover, roughly $20,000. Furnish a new cell 1A cover for 23,940 square feet, $145,000. To install a new cell 1A cover, $22,900. $200,000 for a total of $365 on the cover. With a,
500 grand total.
yeah, with a contingency of 10%, $555,000.
Great googly moogly.
Right, you know. It's that cover, right? I will forward that out to everybody.
The whole thing will
I was just thinking
In
we
a
should
bubble.
dome it.
go problem solved.
It
We had
would be nice,
heat.
wouldn't it?
Oh my God,
That'd be pretty.
amazing.
That would be amazing.
Let's go talk to the people at Milford.
It was
How do
it
you-
was talked about.
Yeah.
It was
How do
talked
you
about
friggin'
years
do?
ago.
How do you install that?
Well,
You
you
know?
get something like Hampton Share Sounds, right, that's like an inflated
The bubble.
Yeah, like a sports dome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's essentially it's.
Milford has a place like that. Franklin Pierce.
It's gonna stay warm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll smell so nice in there.
Well, it's got ventilation.
You wouldn't need the covers either.
No,
Well, for I guess for algae blooms and stuff maybe.
it still wouldn't.
Yeah.
Sunlight.
yeah, right, you'd be negating the biggest factor in it is the temperature, right?
We'd be blocking our solar array though.
We get a low pro.
Yeah. Maybe not.
But in reality, though, what we're talking about right there is 550 is not. This is not bad. That means done. 550 is done. We are. The only thing we need to do after that would be a nitrification reactor. It's too late now, but if it looks like our ammonia is not a problem after the adjustments that we made, which it seems like it's doing really well. What are
It's
your
still
recent numbers
holding.
on that?
It's still holding off.
And it's
The
been cold.
temperatures I got today from Lagoon 1A and 1B were like a 7.5.
It's still
that's
holding.
But that's right
been
there.
cold.
No, I know, but it's like
Really
I'm
cold.
surprised it's still that high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the coldest
Interesting.
winter we've had in a while.
yeah, it is. Okay.
Or
But
like consistently.
We have tons of headroom right now on ammonia, right? Your numbers are super
My
low.
last results that I got back were from January 29th, and the ammonia is a that's influence. You don't want that. A 0.13.
And our regular Nifties is what?
Like a 13.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like headroom. I don't know
But-
what's gonna happen in
So
friggin'
this
April,
one thing I had found. So grabbing the samples out in the lagoons today, it was in 1B it was a 15.1. So hoping that the extra storage and detention time
Mhm.
in 2A
Mhm.
is gonna help
but yep.
keep it down.
Okay.
So it has come up. Oh no. Yeah, that was today. Was a
The first time we gave
it was a 9 temp was a 9.2 in 1A. It was a 7.5 in 1B.
Okay.
Ammonia coming in was a 53 though. That's like
And our most of the nitrification takes place in 2A anyway, right?
no, it's usually 1A.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
1A and 1B. So our alkalinity is high, which is it could be one of two things. We're adding the magnesium hydroxide to raise it, but also when you stop nitrifying it, it raises your so it's like, which one is it? I'd have to run some nitrate samples to see where our nitrate is. If our nitrate's elevated, it means we're nitrifying and it's converting the ammonia to nitrate or nitrite.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the, so I guess it's probably, we'll know that, by midsummer or whatever, when we start talking about doing another warrant article for next year, we'll know that part of it, right? And if we've survived the coldest part of the season and continue to meet or exceed by some margin, because that's what we definitely need to exceed.
You're gonna be looking at the pounds per day.
Right, and so we want to exceed the NIPD's permit, not the adjusted,
No.
yeah, not the adjusted AO, but the actual permit.
Yep.
We want to beat that, and then we'll have a better idea if we're gonna put the warrant article on, that we can explain to the town that a nitrification reactor will not be required.
Yep.
Right, okay. So that's probably better suited for next year anyway, so I think, Dave's thought that we were a little early on that was right, so that's fine. The only other thing on warrant articles is, I had a pending, question for the select board. It was, I sent it to Jeremy, I never got a response back. This was the bigger question was regarding the PDIP fund. The select board was claiming that they were not going to be able to sign off on purchases coming out of the fund for legal reasons. This was last year. The nature of the expenditure wouldn't matter. They were legally obligated to say no. This was based on our conversation from that night. It says TJ said that the other night that he would be personally liable, which that's what you said. So I said last year TJ stated that it was a conflict with all that was going on in the court case. In the end, if you cannot legally sign off on the expenditures, the account, regardless of the opinion of the expense, you need to be removed as agents. What was the attorney's response to that? Because I know after we left that meeting, the attorney was going to be contacted.
Yup.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, all right, thanks for coming in.
So, I can email him and ask him.
Okay.
You guys want to look on
Yeah, and that's a foregone conclusion from a warrant article standpoint, but it'd be nice to know. You guys need to know.
it? Yep.
So that when we have to take purchases out of that account, you have the answer, so. That was the only other thing on the warrant articles. It was kind of twofold, follow up with the select board on that particular piece, so.
Okay, I'm gonna back up one thing on the generator. We still wanna pursue that, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think our other generator, one of our other generators is the same vintage as the one we just replaced, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That one is bigger though. That is, I looked at that today, that's 100 kW. So the one down there is a 60.
60, yeah.
And the one we got is a 75.
Yeah. Okay.
I just left this on there as a placeholder, as a reminder. Was that March or May? I can't remember, on the safety training part.
Safety training, so the OSHA 10 is March 4th, but I was looking at it, it's in North Conway, it's a 2-day class. And that would pretty much be impossible for me and Tobin to both go,
Yeah.
just to get
Is there anything else?
to get
You
there
have
by
to be,
8
you have to be in person for that?
Yep. But there is other trainings. There's one in Jaffrey coming up. That is chemical inventory and fire safety. There's a ton of classes in here. I try to find some that are close and some that are
Yeah, I would say if
for cyber, but that was a friend.
we get Tobin involved in as many as possible, and then if schedule allows.
The fire safety one is May 1st, and that would be Mike's first day, right? No, April 1st.
April Fools. Sure, it's on.
My birthday's.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cybersecurity, total telephone rule, wastewater 1 and 2 certification prep course. That is 4-day class split up between 2 weeks. That's in Franklin, which wouldn't be bad. Probably send Mike to.
Okay, yeah, as long as you keep that all on your radar and then
Yep.
to it needs it the most.
Confined space training.
That's big.
That's in Plymouth. They do have them all over the state though. I know Jaffrey has a lot of classes and Hinsdale does.
You can always look at hosting one too, I don't know if that's a possibility, but if there's something that,
Yeah, we can do it like the community center.
yeah, exactly, I think, was it, were you around for that? Maybe John set it up, Highway for something, or you set it
No,
up?
I set it up.
You set that one up, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so, I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
There's one that I wanna do.
Alright, yeah,
Has
as long
nothing
as
to do here. This septic system installer, our course. One day.
give me ideas. Unless you're installing 400 and something septic systems.
Lot-
460.
Oh,
Yeah, it's some pretty tight quarters. I guess they have some septic systems down to a pretty small footprint these days.
oh my God, I did one on Dublin Lake. Helped out with it a couple of years ago. That was, had 7 tanks. The leach field was the size of this table. They had a
I
whole
think that's what, the Green Farm project is talking about using is those compact,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they were like
Footprint
7 by
systems.
14 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
There's 7 tanks with aeration, pumps, and settling, like a whole treatment system. That was well north of $100,000 septic system.
yes.
Yeah, so just stay on top of that, especially.
Yep.
The staff organization part of it, TPI staffing has asked for an update, so I just wanna, I know we talked about it, touched on it briefly. What does that look like? I know we would still like to get someone in here, has the hours changed? What does that look like from a budget standpoint? Are we still looking to do that? And has the time frame changed?
I would say hold off for now. When we get Mike in here.
Does seem like a lot. Let me bring up the budget right here.
I did preliminary email to them, was just like, we literally signed with you and got a resume, like, in the same week, for a position that we had posted for quite some time, so. Glad to have these opportunities from a budget standpoint.
Yes. All right, so. Yeah, we definitely don't have enough in the budget. That is my guess. Yeah, so our budget is. Grand total salaries is 203,920. That's what we have budgeted. So we've got 175 plus, yeah, we're gonna be over budget on the salaries without the TPI person. I don't know that it matters that we go over budget, cause we're a little different here than everywhere else, because we just can't go over what we take in for revenue. So, and we have about a $50,000 buffer in revenue, so, but the budget does need to come up at some point, to meet whatever we have, so. There are other items in here we can probably do better on, but, to help offset that, but 10 hours a week for that person, do we know what TPI was gonna charge us for this person?
It's like a
32 bucks an hour.
Yeah, $20. It's a 50%
Right.
increase. So if we got it for 20, it would be 30. More like probably going to be more like 25.
Right.
So that's $37.50.
33 bucks an hour. Yeah. What was it? 15 hours? 12 hours.
Yeah, there was a great candidate in there that
Yeah.
had been part-time for many municipalities, so I think that person would probably be more well-suited for 10 hours, whereas you might get someone that could do the 20, that would need the 20.
If we averaged at 15 hours and it was $35 an hour, it's $27.3 for the year. So.
What do we think about what Justin said about holding off until Mike gets settled, or do we want something here sooner than
I think we should do a half year with TPI, unfortunately. So do the second half of the year, because that gives Justin some time to get everybody kind of
That's fine.
to herd the cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted an answer from them. I agree.
Yeah, no, I guess we just, again, have to apologize. We're always putting feelers out and then changing our mind.
I mean, however we got there to get the opportunity with Mike, and it is what it is.
Yep. Yeah, so we're gonna put a pin in that till June.
The update on the licensed operator was just an email that I copied you guys all in. Looks like Jeremy sent out like a welcome package with a ton of attachments on it, so,
Good.
Yeah, he can start working towards that or reviewing what he wants to do. I had talked to Justin real quick, once he kinda has a moment to digest that, or even, a little bit before he gets here, let's get him connected to with either, Dennis Green or Dick Emberley, I don't know who, you would know better than me. Yeah, that way he can get all the questions answered, whatever he needs for reciprocation of his water license immediately, and then, and then moving forward from there.
Did you guys see anything in the welcome packet? I don't know if you had a chance to look that differed from what we told him on the day he was here. I think we were kinda.
I honestly, it would have been way over my head anyway.
I just know, like we said, 30-day waiting period for healthcare, and I think that was one of the things that
We had had
it's
that
important to have, right?
conversation.
15% is what the employee pays for health insurance. I'm assuming that's still correct.
Yeah, there's 12 attachments on the cover. I do remember that conversation with somebody else. I don't remember who that would have.
I think some of this is for you too, like the rate of pay form,
So I should really go through that.
yeah.
Yeah, looks like the medical dental, beneficiary, and NHRS enrollment, W4, background check, emergency contact, Form I-9, yeah, rate of pay form.
Well, that might be just the signing off, you know what your rate of pay is. That require that.
Approved personnel policy.
That's one of the labor board findings from years back.
You know what attachment that would be in, Ben, would it, like, personnel policy?
Yep. Yep, I would expect it to be in the personnel policy.
I won't take that hard. just to kind of piggyback off of this, I did receive a letter from, or an email from Mark. About, I don't know if anybody remembers, but back in last February when we had all the staffing changes, we were required to lay out our plan with the state to try and get back into compliance with multiple operators. It has been a year. They looked for a new version of that. I completed that, I believe, yesterday, and sent it out and copied Justin in on it. So that's to Mark Condolis or Condolis. He was he was the son of.
He was junior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The two marks.
So basically, it was, yeah, we had a notice of finding from last year, from February 8th, and then it said that, you know, they received an email or a letter from Nick on April 1st for his resignation, and then another letter on June 28th from Rhonda for her resignation. So they requested information to provide a timeline or schedule to obtain a qualified backup OIRC as required by a RSA from them, 304.29B.
Have you given them a timeline back when we were working with them originally?
I think we had a vocal timeline with them. I don't know. I know that we knew we took. Let me back up. They knew when we hired Justin. Dick Emberly was part of that conversation. That was when I was trying to update all of the contact information. Right? They wanted us to do it digitally. I couldn't. Me and Dick went back and forth and got that information entered. In there, you know, we had mentioned that we had posted the job on several pages, including you know, rural water and all that stuff. So they were happy with that. So this is the next step in that, right? So couldn't have been better timing.
Right, that's what I was thinking. This is the response is good. So,
Right. So I sent the response. I'm trying to find it, but basically laid it out. Just kind of generic. I didn't give exact dates. So I just wrote that on April of 2024, the commission hired Justin Frazier, superintendent. Justin was former operator of Troy. Water and Sewer Department has over a decade of experience with our system. Justin completed necessary testing in June 2024 to reinstate licensing prior to the raised version of our machine. In July 2024, the commission hired Tobin Patnode as an OIT. Tobin submitted all work history and attempted testing in Q4 of 2024. He will reattempt testing again in June. Richard Emberly is currently helping him with study materials. In February of 2025, the commission hired Michael Lynch as the assistant superintendent with an intended start date of April 1st, 2025. Michael has over 4 years' experience in water treatment and distribution and currently holds a Massachusetts water treatment grade 3T license. He intends to apply for reciprocation for water licensing immediately and complete wastewater testing in June. He will also submit all work history to DES in an effort to fast track licensing and become backup OIRC ASAP.
Perfect. That sounds good.
OIRC-ASAP.
So
Yeah, that's good. That I'm sure they're happy
they
to
should,
have
if
that
they're
person.
not,
Yeah.
tickle pink at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell them after
Throw my
that.
hands in the air on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of covers that. If anybody else has anything else, questions for Mike or information they think I should get to Mike, let me know.
Good. It's all good.
All right. So, any old business that I didn't think of? Because I know. This one, I had it on here. I don't know if we ever discussed it, Justin. The LCRR. I don't know if you've had this meeting, and I was just looking for an update.
Yep,
Okay.
well, no, I've got another meeting coming up on the 19th, so I'm gonna be forwarding GIS information, just cause she wanted it. But I'm gonna have a meeting with her, another meeting with her, just steps moving forward, what we need to do.
And that, this is an entire statewide thing.
I think it is, I think it's, I don't know if it's just me and her.
Well, I just meant like,
Okay.
this is the state trying to map all.
Yep.
all this.
Yep.
Alright, so 19th of this month?
Yep, next Wednesday. Oh, I gotta look at the time, what time it is. I put it up on.
I know they copied me in on the email, so I just like to get an update.
I've been getting used to using my calendar.
There you go, I hated making a switch, but it was certainly, now I just overbooked myself. Like, yeah, I get there in time. Okay, so, employee evaluation sheets, I know this is when I've been kicking the can down the road on this one. I'd like to get both, Justin and Tobin. Tobin's about 6 months, and I wanna do one with Justin so that he can see it, so he can do Tobin's with Tobin. I mean, we can all be a part of the evaluation, but I think Justin should have presented it to Tobin.
Correct.
So I found some online, I didn't wanna, free is not free.
It never is, it has a watermark or something.
Yeah, so I just basically copied one. I'm gonna probably, I'll print it out right now, but I'm gonna forward it to somebody because it's on a Mac, maybe somebody can change it, but I'm gonna print a copy so we can look at it, as long as we agree on it. We can probably use this for now. I know that the town uses their own, but I need one that matches, right? We've had this discussion several times. So yeah, I just found one that was kind of what I remember doing them in here before with other employees and what we liked and didn't like about them. So I found one that's kind of covered it and just basically copied it onto whatever Max version of Excel is, which I think is numbers.
I see you didn't wear your shorts tonight.
Yeah.
It's not a good place to wear shorts, it's freaking cold. Bottom 2 feet of this freaking room.
I'll print more, but that's kind of the gist of it, right? So check columns on job knowledge, productivity, work quality, technical skills, work consistency, cooperation, attitude, initiative, punctuality, attendance, dependability, communication skills, and then like we can tally them up at the bottom. So
I like it.
comments, yeah,
Looks good.
You know, in that opportunities for development, I think that's a good place for the employee to say where they can improve or the ambitions or goals that they have, and then our comments below it, and then there's a signature that you see. That line at the bottom was just something that was on there, so it's fitting, and I think it makes sense, right? You confirm that you've discussed this review in detail with your supervisor. Signing this form does not necessarily indicate that you agree. So, you know, very similar to one of the pages we had, I just don't know why they didn't match for each side of the equation. If there's something you want to add or not, we can.
What's a signature?
The what?
What's a signature? Reviewer's signature. Calm down.
No, this isn't the page. Yeah, so, you know, you must have done these in the past, no?
It's been a long time.
Right, so we'll do yours,
This is good.
right? So,
It's not too crazy, right?
yeah, right, like, last time we were like, oh, do we beat it this time,
Right.
good or bad, right?
Yeah.
So, it just allows us that, so, I'll send it out if anybody has any suggestions, other than, typos.
No, so essentially the employee's gonna get a self-assessment that looks exactly the same, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and then it'll be compared. That's the way I always used to do reviews, was we had both sides, and it was nice because when you read the employee's self-assessment, you know you're working well with them when they point out the same things that you point out, you know, like, yeah, I'm working on this one, and we've been working on that one, and,
Right.
you know.
Why don't instead, this is just a thought, instead of excellent, good, fair, poor, why don't you have like a number system, that way you get a score? instead of just checks.
Yeah, cause I think if you put, if you take
Excellence of
excellence
four.
of, yeah, right, I get what you're saying, yep. If you assign a number to each one of those,
Yep.
so when you check it off, it totals up to a number, yep.
Yep. So
And then a maximum score of X or whatever.
Excellent for
Count the squares.
because that kind of lines up with what I'm going to show you guys this operating chart.
Boy.
What I've been working on.
Alright, so, I'll get that, and since we got a quick meeting, we can kind of, whatever you wanna call it, ratify that, and we'll give Justin his to fill out. We have time at the end of the meeting, maybe you can send the home everything to his real quick, but we're not, but I just wanna get it started, because,
Yep.
it's time and we'll be able to adjust a couple things.
Your year is April 1st, is that when you started?
I don't think it was the first. It was April though.
April.
It was a snowstorm. I remember that.
That doesn't help at all, Justin.
I'm burning the tree that blocked the road for days right now, it's burning really good.
That's true, that's right.
And I unknowingly on Facebook has already sent everybody through the park, like, you're gonna have to go through the park. Oh, shit.
No, that was fine, there was an emergency situation going on there. Blocked off the whole freaking neighborhood. For days, I remember that.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm just cutting it. I called an electrician, I was like, is this wire live? He's like, man, that's communication. You sure?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you use the chainsaw, I'll be over here.
Yeah.
Big old. So, alright, that's it. Really for me, we have a shut-off list, I'm assuming that is a, non-public for that, over that, or do we wanna?
I think it just gives us more room to discuss it candidly and not,
Yeah.
not run the risk of
Say
whatever.
any names, right?
Yeah, we don't wanna be dinks.
Okay, alright, so, yeah. Take it away.
So first thing, I've been doing a lot more samples, trying to get more data. I actually want to do some more tomorrow, just for my own peace of mind.
Good.
But I got Mike's coat is ordered. Got him keys. Next time I go to Keene, I'm gonna get him a hard hat, gloves probably, maybe wear gloves, stuff like that.
You got a debit card or credit card or something from here?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a Home Depot card. When I go to Home Depot, I just use that. But,
Yep.
but yeah, there's a debit card too.
Yeah,
Which
don't be
is-
afraid to Amazon some of this stuff too. It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
Save yourself time.
Yep. The pipe saw, or demo saw, I've got 3 quotes. I called Tucker's like 12 times today, and every single time they were busy for a period of like 4 hours. So I called Chapel Tractor. They were the cheapest.
Really? Never heard that in my life.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked too. It was $1,800, so it's $99 cheaper than Hamshaw's. It's right around $300 for a 16-inch diamond blade. We have a 14-inch out there. 16 is just easier for cutting. 16's main because you can plunge through it. 14 you can't. You can make multiple cuts, smash a hole, and then come in at an angle to cut it through. Guyette's was for a 16-inch. It's a Husky. That was $19.69. And then,
The other one steals.
yeah, the other 2 were steels. I love Husky chainsaws. I never really cared for Husky knife saws.
Yeah, steel, in my opinion, would be a steel.
Not the chainsaw wise though. At least the older ones. 372. Can't beat it.
Oh, I got one all too.
So everybody's
This thing is
favorite. Love
a
those.
absolute machine.
I got an 039 steel and the thing's a dog. It's just, might as well have a farm boss.
The 372 is ported with a 32-inch bar. It's a fun.
The 575 is nice too.
Yeah, that's all electronic now. So
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a beauty.
So the other thing, the bigger thing is been working on this ArcGIS, so that's why I got the computer out so you guys can see. So basically, this is the portal here. So this is where I can populate all the spreadsheets. So right now I've got gravity mains on here. So these are all the gravity mains, and they're divided up into sections.
So you just go out and mark the manhole and then it connects the dots, is that how that works?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you draw them in, you connect the dots, but
Yeah.
so I highlighted that. Yeah, so that's put me. No. All right, so that's that section of main right there. So they give me a rating. He rated them all pretty good because they're all SDR 35. We do need to make some changes because for some reason in here on the plans it showed it was asbestos. I was like, we have no asbestos surveys. So, and then so basically you get.
So that's just a section of main and then it gives you
Yep.
a detail in the list?
Yep, so you've got, there's a ton of them on here. Yeah, it has this one as AC, which it's not. It's a gravity 8-inch, the ID number, date of installation 1982, useful life expectancy is 80 years.
Hey, we're actually in that one.
So,
That's great.
2062.
We have something that's not actually freaking obsolete.
So remaining life 38 years. Unit cost to replace it is $375 per linear foot. That's installed though. That they factor
Okay.
and somebody coming in and digging it
Great
up.
to have that information.
Which that's
for hand.
pretty. It's pretty close. So quantity. So from manhole to manhole, it's 286 feet. So
It's-
costs.
Quick question, Justin, on like the unit cost.
I can adjust it.
So, but you don't have to adjust it on each one, you can adjust it in the master number for that type of pipe?
No, so they didn't break it down by pipe diameter. I think it was kind of like an average
Okay,
of what it was from 16-inch down to 8-inch.
Okay.
8-inch is the smallest sewer.
well, what I'm asking is you don't have to go into each individual line item to adjust the unit cost if you want to
No,
adjust it.
I could highlight them all and
Okay.
change it.
Oh, okay.
So then we get into impact of failure is very low. So if that fails, how many people are going to be impacted? So that's got a score of a 1. Probability of failure 2, condition score a 2, and then
Which is good.
so then yes. So then what it does is I can get a printout, which they're actually going to give all this to us when this is done, and we'll have a priority list of. So yeah, something may have a condition score of like a 2, but impact score of a 5. So it's gonna rank higher where
Yep.
it's gonna affect
Yep.
a lot of people if
Yep.
this fails. So that we'll get a printout of a priority list with all the scores.
I like that.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I went through it with Marlboro.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Stuff towards the back, really, I don't really need to mess with.
Do we have this for water also?
So I don't have this breakdown for water, but I have been doing mapping the whole thing, and I'm gonna talk to Jordan and figure out how to do this. I have to clean up the water portion.
Okay.
So, but I'll show you what I'm gonna be doing with the water portion. So what we're doing is a story map. So this is just something we threw together. There's actually 2 of them. So what we can do is we can put a link on the town website to share for people so they can log in and see. So the system mapping, so they can come in and actually see this. They'll be able to look at the map. Okay, this is where the system runs. So this here's a force main, it's dotted. We could build a legend
Yep.
for the map. He just put in here number of manholes and date of installed. I think this is going to be edited to 1981. So the total number of manholes is here. This is a breakdown of, this is where we need to edit the AC, which he said he's going to go in and do it. This says 4.9% of the system is AC, 31% is ductile iron, and 63 is PVC. But we can add other graphs if we want to, or pie charts.
Yep.
Like we could put in estimated costs
Yep.
into a graph on some of this.
Yep.
But I can also break it down too, so all that stuff was just, let me go back to the portal. So I could add, like, these are manholes here. So now I have gravity mains and sewer structures, manholes on my attribute table. Get these out of here. What he has for a cost projection on unit cost 10,000. That's pretty close to the structure.
Per to install the entire structure.
Yeah.
Structure. Yeah, because
But
you
you can-
have like 12 or something when we were talking about South Main Street, so that's
Yeah.
not bad. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically and then you'll get a value of like your whole system. I can put the force and manhole on
Can we sell it?
here. Maybe.
Once we determine what it's worth.
There are companies that will come in and buy the system, but it's not very often.
Justin.
No. So I can put the force main on there. That's just gonna be one section, because it's not broken down. But, so, the other thing. So that's the story, which we can add whatever we want to it.
And are they,
We can put in our mission statement. That's one thing he talked about.
yeah.
So we could put in we could put our mission statement in here.
I think building out the story, what do you call it, the story page?
Yeah, story maps.
Story maps, when building out the story maps, it's probably just makes sense to go with whatever they suggest if they've built these before, I'm assuming.
Yep,
So.
and that's what he talked about. He said in here, put the mission statement. What I did,
Do we have like a vector graphic of the logo? Steel?
Yeah.
That's also great.
yeah,
I've got a high res.
that we just put this in just so I can show you guys,
One I
but
can find to use too.
like this is the other story map. I actually like this one better, but it's more easy on the eyes, I think. Other than that town seal, like, I like how it's got the topo.
We have a high res one somewhere.
This is the map. So they'll get a link, so they'll be able to come right to here and they'll be able to zoom in.
Yeah, because I know John's trying to do the same thing for like, he's trying to add the street lights as well. Because then you can, if there's one out, you can hit it, like street light out, or you see a pipe that's leaking, like pipe leaking.
Yep. So
Yeah,
that's that
This
one.
is all he does, a bunch of false reports,
It
and guys
is.
driving around in circles, chasing stuff that's not happening.
Well, I mean,
So
leaking pipe
for-
easy. Nope, we're good.
I know, but still.
Oh, this was pipe diameter. We we were trying to figure out how to get in here and change this to 8. So it says 8-inch, 156. Must be feet. That's not right. But, yeah, that's
Pretty
not right.
amazing. Like, so it's right, once all the data's in there.
Yeah,
you can
so this
modify
is,
stuff.
and he's still working on the portal, getting everything squared away with here, because we tried to edit a few things and it wasn't working right. He's like, I gotta change that. So, but I'll show you the waters one I have. Now that the sewer one's all done, I'm gonna go through and delete the water, or the sewer structures from my water one, just so it's not like, so, and then I can create a mission statement, or not a mission, story table, story map for the water. Just rename it. So now, so we've got all the hydrants. All the hydrants are in. These, the green are manholes, so I'll get those out of there. Anything to do with sewer. Oh, the red are the hydrants where the mains are. And then, so like I went up in the trailer park and shut somebody's water off a couple months ago. Put this in here. So that's their curb stop when I located it. And then, so
It'll take a minute.
I just gotta
Punch it
change
all
the
up.
identifier, so I gotta put the address in there. I just did it on my phone real quick. And then,
This gets rid of tie cards essentially, right?
yeah, well, here's the thing. So, I took a picture of it with the curb wrench, with the trailer in the background.
Yeah,
So, you have like a reference point,
yeah.
and then, oh, I didn't put the tie card on that one. I did this a while ago, like, I went down Dordt Street, and I think School Street's all done. So, here's Miss Wilson's here, 18 Dordt Street. Painted it with a house in the background. And
That's nice.
then I uploaded the tie card to it as well. So when we're out there and Mike's fresh here, he can just pull up on his phone. Oh, I gotta shut the water off in this place. I don't know where it is. So he can just pull it up on his phone. Okay, it's so many feet, it should be right here.
Yeah.
Leave it out.
That's huge. Good
So,
stuff.
but I wanna clean it up. I wanna get rid of all the manholes. Oh, the green ones are gates, gate valves.
3 or 4 left.
I did the hydrants on Russell Ave. So then we can do, and you can also change, which I hate this base map, but
I don't recall, does this have an annual subscription that we're paying?
I think you pay, you gotta add, if you wanna add more to it. So you can change it to a satellite view too. Which, I like the satellite view better, cause you can overlay it better than just the street.
I like it. It's great.
I love it,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's pretty handy.
Yeah.
So, once we get the report from Underwood, we'll get all the evaluation, everything. Projected costs, our scores, what's high priority, what's low priority, what we need to focus on next.
Yep.
I think there's a subscription fee.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's yearly or if it's monthly.
it's not monthly.
It might be just yearly that they get it, because I know John's gonna basically piggyback off of this one with his own, and the bill will
Yeah.
come in with water and sewer.
You get so many credits, so you can add like so much stuff. That's it.
Good. Yeah, I love the fact that it like rationalizes risk with
Right.
age.
Right.
And prioritizes it that way.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
cause I didn't even think of that, like the impact of a pipe, even though it may have the same grade of quality or condition or
Right.
whatever.
But at the end of the line versus.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, that's,
Yeah, Marlboro has all their tax maps on here,
Yep.
laid out, they've got like everything. All their stormwater, their water, their sewer.
yeah, that's nice.
So, that's all I have. Oh. Oh, this was the letter you said I had.
I see that.
Yeah. Oh, it's right here.
Are you gonna buy the street saw?
The what?
Just the street saw, you call
Oh,
it
the
pipe
demo saw?
The demo saw, yeah, call it street
Pipe saw,
Yeah.
demo saw. I mean, I would like to.
Yeah.
We're gonna need one.
Why don't we get it locally? We're how far away is Chapel?
40 minutes.
Yeah, for the $99, just get it here.
Right.
Get
Yeah.
it right nearby.
And then,
Okay.
And then when you want to.
I'll get a hold, I'll try Tucker's again, and if they can,
And ask Camp Shop they'll match it.
yeah.
Yeah, right,
It doesn't
exactly.
hurt, like, hey, Chapel will give it for this much.
Yep. Yeah.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
No.
All right, sounds
Do we
good.
need to act on that? It's almost $2,000.
I forget, I thought he had,
I forget what the number was.
2,500 I know, but we can just have it.
Move that, we authorize Justin to purchase the, saw, 16-inch, huh?
Yep.
Big boy.
It's the same one we have.
Okay. Only says a 14. You gotta buy the blade with it too?
Eventually,
Okay.
we'll burn up the 14 before we do that.
Okay.
Definitely
Yeah.
want to go to a 16. It's actually my blade. I brought it in. I bought it at Harbor Freight for $70, so I don't think it's gonna last very long.
I'll tell you, diamond blades, you can get them cheaper than, you buy them retail somewhere and they're just like, get them online and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely get them. $300 for a 16-inch blade is just crazy. It's a lot of
Yeah,
money.
yeah, I thought it was pretty expensive.
Yeah. But anyway, so, demo saw, locally, $2,000. Up to $2,000. I don't care what the DRA says. Getting fussy now. I mean, they've just let everything, well, I guess you can't.
One year they told us it has to have it, next year, no, yes, no, yes,
You're
no,
a different
yes.
person, read it, just snip, snap, snip, snap.
Give me another reference.
Give me an idea. Hard that isn't a man. Snip, snap, snip, snap.
Second on that one.
No, sorry, seconded.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No abstentions? No no's? Okay. That's it for you? Well, is it? Yeah. That's all you have?
Yeah, that's all I
Okay.
have.
Yeah, and take that old friggin' saw and marketplace it or something for $50 or whatever. Isn't it junk?
He said there's something wrong internally in the motor.
Yeah.
He said he can start tearing it apart and figuring it out. He goes, but it's probably not worth it.
Was that Joe?
Or we
or
could,
Kenny?
if we're gonna get the same exact saw, we can hold on to it for parts.
Is it gonna be the same exact saw?
Yep.
Okay.
Should be, unless, I'll double
That-
check before.
That I'm on board with. Hanging on to junk is, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not into.
Yeah. No.
But, yeah. But yeah, that would make sense, definitely.
Okay. And we can move into non-public. Shaw and a letter from a customer.
Actually, legal coming up too.
I had it on here, just as placeholders we usually do, but I don't know that we do. I don't think there's any updates or anything.
I don't think there's any.
Oh, before, we don't have to go to non-public for this, but, so, went back and forth with our attorney and the town assessor on the, the property in Jaffrey, the town assessor had offered in the midst of all this to send a request for abatement over to Jaffrey. She actually put together a real nice abatement request, for that, and it's requesting a full abatement for the 2024, taxes. So, and she referenced the 1915 law as the, basis for that abatement. So, we're gonna wait for the response on that, and then once the response comes back, I'll talk to Jason and find out how we wanna proceed. If this response comes back favorable, what do we do? Because
Right.
if they agree that that's necessarily the case, then we should have been charged all along, so we have to
Yeah,
broach
it'll
that
be
con- we
interesting
have to
what
ask that
they come up
conversation.
with, right?
We have to ask that question, excuse me.
You're not getting money back.
Yeah, we figured as much,
Yeah,
but
well,
like, where do we
you can't
move?
get it back if you don't ask, so.
Yeah, it'll be, really curious to see, I'm really curious to see where they go with
Me too.
it. So, with legal for.
So we don't need legal, so.
I mean, I'm sorry, not legal, no.
C, reputation? What is that?
Yeah, for the customers.
Yeah.